I was like, Lord, if it's not in your will for me to be married, remove the desire. I'd rather not be in anguish than have this. You know what I mean? Like, I just rather be able to just be single, not think about those things, and like live through your purpose and like with content. But I can't do that if I have this desire on my heart.
With me having to relearn, reprocess, rethink what sex was, that was like taking a part of my identity away.
Just because you may need to seek help or you may be in transition and things may not be right, it doesn't necessarily mean that your marriage is bad.
Marriage is a roller coaster ride that never ends.
From the twists of having children, to the turns of overly involved parents, or the highs of buying a new home, to the lows of unexpected lifestyle changes.
Marriage is dope, but let's be honest, fam. Marriage really be tiring.
Welcome to the Left Hand Gang podcast, hosted by Jazz and Spoon.
Yo, what's good, everybody? It's the Left Hand Gang. Gang.
What up, gang?
Gang. Look at it.
I saw it in the corner of my eye.
How you doing, baby? You all right?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Yeah. I ain't got nothing.
That's all you got?
I didn't even know I wasn't ready for that question, but I'm doing great.
Well, I'm gonna call you out. The reason why is because you was looking at DoorDash. You trying to see when your salad.
Dog, I was just trying to see. Here. I was trying to make sure that Roberta wasn't having no problems with my order. That's all.
It says she approaching. She coming.
Okay, and I know that now.
I know.
Dang, bro. Period.
Anyways. Man, that last episode. So we ain't know it was gonna go in the direction that it did, but it went that way, and we hope y'all enjoyed it because we were just talking about life and who he is and what we got going on. And y'all know where we at. So, yeah. You jog your memory?
Yeah, I didn't understand why you were saying that, making that disclaimer, but I got you now.
Yeah, you got me. Yeah. You picking up what I'm putting down. So, man, we ain't got nothing, no preliminaries or nothing. We just gonna jump right into what we got to get into today.
Let's go.
Who do we have today?
We have our sister with us today. This is family, y'all.
Yeah, family.
You know, friends that become family. This family right here. We have Heather Holland with us.
Heather.
But we don't call her Heather.
Yeah, we call her Heather.
Heather. Literally, I think I say Heather if I'm referring to you and I'm like somebody else, but yes. I don't think I've called you Heather like for years.
And if you say Heather, I'm kind of confused. It's like my close friends / family say like Heather Marie. I'm like, what's going on? Am I in trouble?
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, Heather. And I really think Dev started that, honestly.
You know what? I think
that started with Dev.
He did.
Because he got that northern accent, you know, because he's from Norfolk, Virginia.
Yeah, so he did start that.
I think that was from Dev. So shout out to Dev.
Shout out to Dev.
So Heather, who you is? Where you from? What set you claim? What you do?
Okay, so I'm from the dirty South.
The dirty
South. Dirty.
So here's what goes on. Like, I was born in Georgia.
Okay.
Moved to Texas when I was 5. But most of my family is from Louisiana. So
okay.
I'm claiming the South.
Okay.
I
so
actually
you
didn't know that you lived in Georgia.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Podcast gonna get you all the information, sis.
Right. I just found out I knew something different about my sister I didn't even know.
Right.
There you go. 5 minutes in. Yeah, but that's my whole like geographic story, I guess. And then right now, you know, I work in, I guess I could say accounting, but now it's more like sustainability, which is a lot more fun. So I'm a manager, newly promoted manager.
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
Accounting. So you count money.
So you smart.
I want to count money every day, but I don't do that anymore.
Oh, you manage people who count money.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
A little bit. That was my job in the past. I more so now tell people like, hey, you can't say like, oh, I care about the people and social economics and then just don't do anything to invest in the community. That's what I do now.
You out here checking people.
Okay. You checking people. Like checking.
And it's a lot more fun than saying like, get your money right. It's like, get your life right. You say you want to support.
Okay.
Yeah. And then outside of that, I'm trying to think. That's it. And then, my family's majority here. Shout out to my sis. Shout out to my mom. Yeah.
Well, Heather, thank you so much for joining the gang. We appreciate you pulling up on us.
You're welcome.
I mean, I just love my sister. You know, we had some moments, and we've gone through some things together, and so
y'all have.
I just love and appreciate you so much, sis.
I love and appreciate you
so much. So I'm just gonna ask you, where he at? Where he at?
I need specifics, like my husband.
Yeah, where he at?
I've been looking for him.
You've been looking.
I be opening up the windows, man. I be poking out. That's not you. Okay.
So what these dating streets, what do the singleness talk about it? What's it been like for you?
Gosh. Okay. Well, how do I even start? So I'll say this, right? Like in the beginning when I first started dating, which was high school, I was just going with the flow. You guys know me. Yeah. I'm very like, why do I need a plan type person? Yep. You know, why do I need to think too much on this? And so with that, I feel like I can't even tell you what my relationships were like then, because it was just not a known sense of self at all, or who were around me. But I'd say like in college, singleness for me was more fun because I was like, okay, my purpose in this is just to meet as many people as I can. And if someone sticks, cool. And if no one does, which that ended up being for me, that's okay too. And so with that, I feel like I've really just been going through another transition of now it's intentional. Like I want to be married and I need to tell that person who I'm potentially dating that. So also say it's been a little rough, but I can get more into specifics too if you want me to as well.
So I think what's hit me is like, what was that moment? Like, when did the switch happen? Like, I'm ready to be more intentional. Like, when am I tired of? So, am I tired of, I guess, being in these streets now? Like, when am I ready? When was that for you? Like, when that switch happened?
Gosh, when the outcome was continued to be the same. When it was like, I'm sitting here feeling so emotional, sad, lonely. And it's like, okay, well, what was I doing that got me to this place? And how does it keep happening every single time? And so I think that's when the moment where it's like, you're not being intentional. You're just allowing rather him or yourself do certain things that kind of compromise what it could have been, if that makes sense.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang. That reality check. Like, it sounds like, oh, that's so beautiful. But like, I'm sure that was very hard. You know what I mean? And like, you had to be real with yourself too and look at you to be like, what am I doing that is contributing to it? Not to say that you're the reason for your singleness. You know, we're not pointing the blame on you, but just recognizing the part that you play and how you could change that up.
100%. Because self-awareness for me, I will say that is a strong suit. I understand when I'm agitated, when I'm like in a funny mood, or just when like it's like I'm not even checking in with a person, you know? So with that, it was a little easy, but at the same time, the reality of it was hard, because at the end of the day, it's like, okay, it didn't work out, you know?
Yeah, I think that's very interesting, especially when you think about like you had to, you know, check yourself, hold yourself accountable. But I also can, you know, let's be real. We're human. We're like, well, he did this and he shouldn't have done this. And if, you know, dude wouldn't have, all these different things. And so it's like, before we reach that self-awareness point, I believe a lot of us, we blame shift and we put it all on one person as if they did it all. And they did this and they said that and he was talking to her, but he never really committed to me. But then again, I never really made it a point for him to commit.
Oh, and don't let the girlfriends rile you up.
Because
they rile me up.
Talk about it.
Listen.
Talk about it.
Yeah, you don't deserve him. He's not texting you back within 15 minutes. Cut him, you know? And it's like,
talk about it.
That's actually not like a good way to go about things. That's not healthy, right?
Yeah.
Like, but then when you like have them around you, and it's not to blame my friends either, because I also feel like I was on the other side of that too at one point, telling my girlfriend, he doesn't sound right. Like, instead of just trying to figure it out, I'm like having flashbacks right now.
So how did you how has it been different dating now that you've been more intentional? What does that look like?
Okay. So starting off with a little bit of a bumpy start.
Okay. It's okay. You always gotta get the first one out of the way.
Get that out the way. Get out the way. It's okay. Be messy.
Right. So I'll say, I feel like when I first met the last person, I'll say that I was communicating with, not even dating. It's just like, I had told him, I really want to be married. I want like true relationship and stuff like that. But I also understand the balance between like, okay, when things need to get serious and when we're just getting to know each other, because I do think some people can come off too strong too.
Yeah.
Because I've had that happen. One guy has told me, I'm going to marry you in our first date. And I was like, whoa.
Okay.
Whoa. I love and appreciate it, but it was like a little too fast. And yeah, so all to say, once I started to be intentional with this past person and I like at least told him what I want my end results to be, I still found myself like just going with the flow a little bit too much because it was just like, okay, we're hanging out. We're kind of like acting as almost if not dating per se, but it's just more like I'm not just kicking it with you like I am kicking it with you with a friend, you're paying for my food, like things like that. You're taking care of me. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, okay,
we stepped up a level. We elevated. Okay.
Yeah. But then it's like, I have to remember, communicate, check in. And so with that, it's like that was happening and it was going on for a couple of months. And then it's when I was like, okay, it's time to ask the question, Heather, like, what is this? And then it was like, oh yeah, we're casually friends. And I was like, skirt, crap. Okay.
Huh.
Well,
I have a question for you in a minute on that, but keep going.
Yeah. Well, honestly, that's kind of like where it ends, because then that's when I was like, all right, dang it. I think I was intentional in the beginning, but kind of got lost in the middle. So I think now more is like, now I just have to like do a better timing of the check-in and not feeling so scared to be like what the other person's going to think, because I just want to know what it is, I just got so caught up in, I don't want to be the girl who's too serious or too that. And it's like, no, like you just got to be vulnerable and tell people what you want,
I like
what
that.
were you going to ask him?
Okay, baby, my question was, okay, what do you guys think about that question? What is this?
Oh, yes.
Or like, where are we? Because I'm with you, like the check-in thing, but I can also see how on the guys' end it's like, bruh, like don't ask, like I don't know, we're casually friends.
Yes.
But for him, is that like we're friends that are dating or talking? Is that the same language? It's just different.
Well, the thing is, it's different with every guy, because you have some guys who are like, don't ask me. Don't ask me where we are. If I ain't told you, then don't ask. Just don't ask. Because some men, that could be off-putting. That could come off as forceful. You're rushing or you're projecting. You're moving too fast.
Yeah.
So, but whenever it comes to a man who maybe knows what he wants and knows how to articulate it, he can tell you what it is. And what I'm noticing a lot with men in today's society, well, I guess the ones that I'm privy to, they're more forward in speaking what they say, what they want, speaking what they want, before the woman does, is what I'm seeing a lot of. And so it depends on so many different things, where that man is with his relationship with God, his relationship with himself, how self-aware is he? Is he fresh out of a relationship, or is he fresh out of a situationship? Or if he's still in situationships, or he's just playing the field and seeing what's out there. So for old dude who said, y'all are casually friends or whatever it is, maybe he's still trying to see what y'all are. Maybe he's still trying to see how you fit into the purpose of his life and how you may fit as a wife. So it's still important to have that conversation. But also in having that conversation and what are we, it's like for us as men, we don't like for it to be dropped on us. Like, hey, we need to have this conversation right now because I'm confused. You've been holding it. You've been playing it out in your head. You've been processing it. You've been thinking it. You've had time to work out your responses to his potential answers to what you're going to say. And so with men, although we're quiet or we don't maybe not speak much, we're thinking, we're processing. And so when we make decisions, we've made them because we're sure of ourselves, not because we want, not so much because we want everybody else to be happy, but we want to be sure of ourselves and what we say. And a lot of men have been speaking out of emotion because they've been beat up on women. Like, what is this? What is this? What are we doing? What's my purpose? What are your plans for me? I don't know. I don't know what my plans are for you. We've been talking for 3-4 months.
I see both sides. Because the woman, I'm like, but I just need to know. Like, am I wasting my time? Are we moving somewhere? Like,
and he's trying to figure out, well, am I wasting my time? I don't know.
I don't know.
That's true. But then, okay, so like from your perspective and your perspective, Spoon, is like once I get that response where we're casually friends, it is like, okay, I guess maybe I should shift a little bit in how we were before prior to my knowledge of this. It's like now it's like, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't be texting every day or, giving as much as my time as I would with somebody who's maybe wanting to be more serious. But that is where I'm still trying to navigate. I'm like, I don't know what to do. That like
maybe, it definitely depends on the guy and the timing, obviously, but maybe asking more questions or asking different questions so that you are clear, and not just you, but like in general, so that we are clear. Not the nagging ones that make them like feel like they're in a corner, and you're like, you're interrogating them. Yeah. But essentially, if you're not clear, then you know what I mean? Like, we all know. I don't know what that means. So I think maybe asking more questions instead of assuming that, oh, I need to back off, or you saying this means this to me, because I would have done exactly what you did. I'm just saying, like, I would have done the same thing.
And I'm really good at backing off. Like the meme of, I think it's the Simpson or something, who like
goes into the bush.
Homer
that is me. I disappear, and I don't know if that's like maybe a bit from my childhood. I tend to kind of isolate myself when I'm rather feeling like, oh, okay, like this is done, or if I'm annoying somebody, which I don't think I was annoying that person in this particular case, but I just have a habit of doing that, which I know can be somewhat unhealthy as well.
Yeah.
Well, and as you were saying, Jasmine, asking more questions, I'm thinking to myself as a man, don't ask me no more questions.
I knew it. I had a feeling.
Don't ask me no more questions.
I said not in a nagging way or like interrogation way.
I know, but when you ask a question and then you ask a question about the answer to the first question, and then you ask a third question about the answer to the second question that was related to the first
depending
question.
on how you answer the second.
So that gets very interrogative. And it's like, can you be at peace with what I gave you?
For a little bit, because I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
So what? Okay.
So can you sit with what I gave you?
Not if I don't know what it means.
No. Can you sit with what I gave you and not create the meaning that you want so you're comfortable with it?
But I don't know what it means.
No, you want it to mean something.
I want a certain answer.
Exactly. There it is.
But I don't understand
right there.
Yours.
You can stop right
but
there.
I don't understand yours.
You want a certain
in Heather's
answer.
situation, I would not understand what casual friends means. Like that to me says, oh, we're not like dating, talking like that. Okay.
I interpreted that.
My bad.
Way.
Let me, let me be cool, because I thought we was like talking almost exclusive. I don't know what the words are now, but I thought we were kind of a thing. And when you say casual friends, that means like I'm cool, you're cool, like so.
We're cool together sometimes.
Sometimes as friends.
And so what I'm saying is, you said it yourself. You're looking for a certain answer. The answer that you're looking for is not the answer that he gave. And so it's with us as men, the answer that I give you, is it sufficient enough? Because I need you to be patient with me as I process your question.
Well, then I need you to say that.
But I gave you an answer and you just didn't like it.
No, I didn't understand it. There's a difference. I feel like we can sit here forever. Let's
We
get back
can.
to Heather because
We
I
can.
really am like,
I know.
love it.
I don't see where you.
I know.
I
know.
love where this goes though. And then for me, it's like, okay, from that answer and how we interpret it,
Yeah.
at least, right? Like I started to get upset about it in
Mhm.
the sense of just kind of like being in my feelings, and not necessarily him per se,
Mhm.
but I think it was just overall in general. It's like, gosh, this is me being vulnerable.
Mhm.
It's like, will a man ever want me besides just like my appearance? Like, or just for, oh, like, let's have good conversation, go
Mhm.
out to eat. They're like, no, let's not go further than that, you know?
Mhm.
And it's like, I know those things aren't true, of course, but it's hard not to feel that way once you have so many outcomes of that.
Mhm.
But then I was talking to Ashley with my dinner. Well, Ashley with my friend. Wait, what am I trying to say? I was at dinner last night with Ashley, and she basically was like, yeah, to me, now I'm trying to look at it from a perspective of every outcome is God's outcome.
Mhm.
So no matter what, if it's good or bad, it was God's outcome because you're prayerful, because you put God in it, because you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you did all the things that were at least trying to be in alignment with his will. Because I know sometimes I'm in the dark and I'm like, I don't know if this was your will or
Right.
if I'm
Yeah.
I'm far behind. But yeah. So
Yeah. And with that, in this dating thing, by the grace of God, I was fortunate enough to not have to deal with it. But what I'm seeing a lot of is the I guess the level of investment of singles. It's like whenever you're dating or courting, have you invested too much? And now you have this high expectation of getting something in return. And so the investment may be normal. It may be normal for you to invest that much, that much time, that much energy, that much effort. And so with it being so normal to you, it's like, why do I keep getting the same outcome? And why do I have to just sit with or be settled in or content with whatever the response was? So we're just casual friends. Wait, what? But that doesn't match my investment.
Right.
So
Right.
what you mean? Because I've invested.
Yeah.
I've done time. I've been forward and letting you know where I am and where I stand. But I'm not getting, what is a casual friend? I don't understand. So I think being more self-aware and mindful of the value even of your investment. Do you value your investment? And maybe, although it's normal, it may be too much.
Yeah.
So if he's leading, follow his lead in the investment. Oh, if you only gonna invest this much,
That's good.
then I'm gonna only invest this much.
Mhm.
And that's not to make it transactional, because we
Yeah.
don't want it to become transactional, but it's using good wisdom in using good wisdom in how much you actually want to invest in trying, because y'all both are trying to figure it out. He trying to, well, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe. I mean, she is fine. I don't mind paying for her food. I don't mind doing this. I love the conversation.
yeah.
But, if we're looking at it biblically and from a godly perspective, you allow him to lead
Yeah.
in that manner too as y'all date. Because we have a lot of women who are leading in dating.
Mhm.
These are my demands. This is what I want. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with having standards. And there are certain things that you value and letting those things be known. But if you go and show all of that and be very bravado with it, then you end up running into the same scenario where a lot of women end up being single, or they end up having a man who they walk over, who's weak, isn't able to speak or lead the family in the direction, because if she's leading and dating, she's going to lead in marriage.
That's
100%. And I feel like that's part of the reason I'm on my social media break is because I see so many things on the Instagram that's like, oh, you know, the guy has to pay for your food, pay for your flight when you just meet him. I'm like,
dang,
what? Like, like,
yeah,
I'm okay with going halfsies sometimes, you know, like
Right. Halfsies.
like, that's just not me. Or like, even especially the body image is like,
Yeah.
okay, you should, you know, if you don't have this physique, go get something done. And it's like, I don't judge people, but I'm like, that's just not me. That's not who I am. So it's sometimes just, I rather just cut out all the noise and rather focus on what God is saying. I think that's what helps the most. It's just reading my Bible, you know, going back to the basics. Exactly.
Just get that word.
Yeah.
That's good, Heather.
Yeah.
So do you feel? Were you finna say something? Okay. So while you're out here dating and whatnot, let me pause. Are DMs open?
Well,
they
DMs
close.
aren't open because I don't have,
have
an
them.
Instagram. I don't have dating apps. I'm not on this earth, low key, when it comes to social media.
Sis said she be at work.
Okay. So
That's it.
So that means y'all gotta DM us,
Right.
And we'll relay the message that we're gonna have a vetting system though.
Yeah, we'll filter.
Yeah, we're gonna have a vetting system. But how do you balance that all while still being a successful, you know, businesswoman, a successful career individual?
Gosh, yes, Spoon. Because I think that's also, I wouldn't say a problem, but it's for me to try and like balance it, right? Like I decided to go into a company that is just really like super high strung. Everybody's type A. We all try to get things done. And I love being around smart people. I mean, like that's how we grew and became friends. Yes, absolutely. Yes. I mean, and me and
we made the cut, baby.
Spoon going, like, I'm doing masters. He's pursuing his PhD. Like, we were in, like, you're a teacher, like what you were. But like
that's not up there with an accountant, but okay.
You taught kids. No, it's really important to be able though to speak at a lower level. I don't want you to like downplay that. That's super big because right now there's people at my company that are great and awesome and they can give the big picture, which sounds great to clients, sounds good to like the partners and everything. But when it comes to your team doesn't understand that. You gotta like put a detail and like, you know, really talk to them like they are just now learning this is new. Granted, of course, you know, you have to have the background and all that stuff, but it's very important to have that skill. That's something I'm trying to develop. So all to say is that like with work, it can easily become kind of the forefront of my mind. And then I forget to put like intention and time and investing to
like be in the streets.
Dating. Like being in the streets.
Just be available.
Literally being available. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Have you run into like some problems with that while dating? Like with
like
some
work
men
being
work work being the forefront or even you bringing in a certain amount and them not so much?
Yes, because it's one, I think it's also hard for the Black community in general to talk about money and like who's making what. And it's like, I know we're getting better at like breaking that and like making sure we're actually communicating with each other. But as far as dating, I have had a man like say like, oh, okay, so how much do you make if you don't mind me asking? And I was like, oh, this amount, whatever. And he was like, oh, okay. Like, and I was like, wait, it doesn't matter though. And he was like, no, but like, dang, I need to work more. I need to do more. And I'm like, but I'm not asking for that. Like, it's okay that you don't make that much. You might surpass me in the next 5 years. You never know what people can do. And that's what I always try and tell people I'm dating. It's just like, as long as you have like a plan and you're a leader, like I'm good. Like we don't have to try and up each other when it comes to the monetary things. And I always have a good sense of as fast as money came, money can go.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm in a good spot right now, but like who knows what happens?
Yeah.
Like even last year, I can attest to my appendicitis. That was just so random.
Yeah.
Like, and it never happens at like 1 p.m. That's what makes me mad. It's at like 3 a.m. in the morning. I'm cramping. I'm like, what's happening?
Oh, emergency surgery. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. New medical bill. Love that. You know?
Yeah.
So It's just like I want, and I think it's hard. I guess one for me to communicate because I'll say it's harder for me to like express myself sometimes with people I don't know, but two for them to comprehend what I'm actually saying because I don't think men are used to women having that perspective of like, no, as long as I'd rather you be a good strategist with money than just having tons of money.
Come on. There's still some of us out there.
Yeah.
There's still a few of us out
but
there.
They be skeptical. They be like,
Yeah, because that list went out. List I'm talking about? The restaurants. Yeah.
Yeah, the Popeyes. I was like, I love me some, movie theater popcorn, all
what?
that. Like,
I feel like that's more authentic because then I don't have to be all fancy and stuff. Like, be all proper and stuff at a fancy restaurant.
For what?
And they give you this much food.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all know me. I barely like wearing shoes.
Right.
Okay.
That's true.
That is true. Your shoes are not on right now.
Right now.
I have my shoes on. Like, what? So, yeah.
That's funny. So, what was I finna say? I was finna say something. I can't remember. Red flags.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's good.
Where they at?
What they be looking like?
Clearly the money thing is one.
Okay. One red flag is there's another person I also dated in 2023. I didn't realize a little bit how of control, like he had that behavior of like wanting to like control everything in a negative way. And I think one red flag was like, I would say, oh, I'm going to wherever place. And he's like, why are you going there? Go here. And I'd be like, oh, I mean, okay, but I'm already like 5 minutes from where I'm already about to be. And he is like, no, you should go here. And I'm like, all right. And then it's just like I found it in like little other small pockets. And then I remember we were on the phone and he was like, and I just helped him with like his budgeting and everything because my background is accounting. So I was like, yeah, of course. He had the nerve to call me and be like, yeah, I feel like you're not doing enough. So, and that kind of makes me want to like go out and do something like maybe bad. And I was like, what? Like, who are you? What? It's this person that I just started talking to. And then I was like, these are like the red flags were there, but it just really started to show gradually. That's one thing.
Man.
It was a little rough.
So you got out of that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Skirt. I was like, no, we're good.
Because that was headed to abuse.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. Yeah.
Did you have a question? So, Heather, what does it look like, to trust God and like whenever a situationship ends, to have to like pick those pieces up, or like what is that process like as a woman who's single but also God fearing? And it's like, okay, kind of like what Ashley was saying, this was God's outcome, but I'm still hurting and I'm not okay. What does that season look like, or what does that process look like to just get back on the street?
Get back on the streets. For me, I mean, I would say that is different for everyone, but at least personally in my case, I've learned that feeling my emotion helps so much versus bottling it up.
And
like,
the world tells us to suppress that.
Yeah.
Be tough. Like, oh, I don't care about it. It's cool. Whatever.
Right.
I don't care about him no more.
Move on.
Yeah.
Like, no. Like, I've had times where I was crying in between meetings because it was hurting that bad. But it was just like, I'd rather it come out now than even have my husband have to like suffer through because I wasn't able to like go through and heal on my own. So I think the biggest thing for that is just like feeling your emotions, but then also having the balance to look forward and not looking back too much, because you can, for whatever reason, get caught up in just the good memories and not the reason why.
You forget why we cut it off.
Why we stopped in the first place.
That's so true.
So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. And then leaning on Jesus for sure, in the sense that like, okay, God, like I was already talking to you, but now I need you more. So I need to like pray even harder. Like, and especially in the moments of when I'm feeling so vulnerable, is like, I do feel his supernatural strength when I call on him versus me just trying to like sit there and wither it through. It's just going to be, no, it's not cute.
That's really good.
And I tell people all the time, like, feel the feelings, really feel the feelings, and feelings aren't bad nor are they good. they're data points, they're
Yeah.
information. So when we feel angry, it's telling our bodies something that, hey, we're angry because we're trying to protect something. What is this thing that we're trying to protect? If we're at peace, why are we at peace?
Yeah.
And knowing that if we're in peace, it really gives us the energy to really thrive. And because why? We feel safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're really good. There's just really good information whenever you have feelings. It's telling your body something,
Mhm.
and it's giving you the power to act or to do something whenever we feel those feelings. I'm curious, how'd you learn all that?
Gosh, how did I learn that? I'm trying to think. I want to say it was a combination of sermons
Mhm.
and my friends,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like, one, when I'm able to just like open up, and it's really like y'all asking me some days, like I know it's been a while, but y'all have been before, like reached out and said like, hey, like, are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, no. And it's like, okay, well, what happened? And then when I was vulnerable and I was like, oh, my friends still like love and didn't judge, it's like, oh, it's okay to feel these feelings, you know? I learned through that. And like I said, through the sermons, I think those would be the biggest things.
It's a lot of self-work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Taking time.
Which usually means that it's been a lot of ugly days too. Because in order for you to have, to do the self-work, like, you had to go through some stuff and you had to like feel that, like, it's some work that you was doing behind closed doors for you to be able to sit here and be like, yeah, it's Jesus, and feeling my feelings and crying in between meetings and getting back out there. Like, yeah, girl, I already know what that means. I understand.
Literally, because that we were talking about earlier is 2018. That year was so dark. It was so dark.
I remember glimpses of it.
Yeah. And it's just like really being by myself and like being emotional, and some days just like really not wanting to do anything, but still like trying to at least be active, you know, things like that. And I guess essentially it was a lot. It was not pretty. It was dark. Listen, I don't
but you
wish
rolled
that,
it through.
but you kind of have to go through it.
Yeah.
I mean, but you could have chose a different way to go through it. But you rolled through that thing, sis. It was many a times I was like, she gonna quit. She finna move back to Dallas. Because you were living in Houston at the time, working, right? And I remember I was like, she ain't gonna make it. She already said she don't want to be there no more and all this stuff. But baby, you stayed there another 2, 3 years. I don't even know, but you wrote that thing out. Okay,
let it out.
then you switch positions.
Yeah, I'm in a new practice.
Okay,
yeah.
and then now you promoted. Like you wrote it out.
Yes. Oh, thank God. Yeah. And it's so funny too, because it's just like we were talking about this series. Like I was doing things to get out of it. Like I was
What do you mean?
applying to other jobs. Like I was like, God, like I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And he was just like, no, like
you gonna sit here.
You sit here. You stay here. And then it's finally when I was like, okay, God, like I am gonna move back to Dallas, but like I think I'm gonna quit. But then that's when the new practice came about. And they were like, yeah, we support you. You can like definitely do this. And I even thought I was going to get a pay cut. I got a pay raise. It's just like,
come on, God's timing.
I was like, oh, okay, Lord, like this is what it looked like when I actually trust you.
Did what it looked like.
Yeah.
When I actually trust you. Whoo, do I know that phrase?
Man, all too well.
Yeah. But I knew I was going through it then, because I remember y'all had Allie and Gerald on here, but there was one morning that I was over there with them and I was helping with Miles, and I was just sitting like, and I had like a blank stare, I guess. Like Gerald looked at me. I didn't even say anything, and he was just like, Heather, it's gonna be okay. And I, like right then in that moment, I was like, I'm going to cry. Because inside, like, you go through things and you don't really speak on it every time. But then when your friends know you that well to where they're just like, no, like, you good? I got you. We got you. Yeah.
So I'm going to kind of go backwards a little bit. I'm curious, like I'm hearing about all this like self-work you've done, sis. And I already told you, we already proud of you. Like, you know what I mean? For everything that you've accomplished and just who you are. But I'm curious about how your childhood, and you mentioned high school a little bit, but like how childhood and like, I don't know, how growing up shaped you in these dating streets and just your relationships and all that.
Yeah. I think my mom will be okay with saying, I mean, she got a divorce, so it's like my parents are separated. And because of that, I was able to witness a woman just kind of work work on her own with 2 kids and like take care of us.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with that, it really influenced me in the sense that I need to be able to stand on my own no matter what happens. Because she also got remarried and fell in love again, and then her husband passes away from cancer. Like, God bless the dead. So it's like, you just never know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what's shaped me to really be like super gun ho. I'm like, I have to have a pretty good career, at least a good enough career to like sustain myself. You know, if I end up having kids, well, hopefully getting married, having kids and something, God forbid, to my husband, it's like, I want to be able to still be strong and like carry through that, because I've literally witnessed that through her. And it's funny too, because anytime like I've been trying to study for my CPA, you guys know that, on and off. I didn't pass this past November, I want to say I took it. I wasn't too surprised because I was working a lot. I skipped a couple sections. I was like, I don't care about no non-for-profit accounting. Like, they can miss me. You know? Like, and then like I had told everyone, like my friends, I don't think I had told y'all yet, but I had told majority of people
That you were studying?
that I didn't pass. And I was fine. Like, I was like, okay, like, cool. I call my mom and I tell her, and I don't know, for whatever reason, my voice cracked. I was just like, I didn't pass. She was just like, it's okay. Like, that's fine. But I think like subconsciously, I learned that like, since she was the main reason of how, like, who I am and how I like evolved today, it's just like, I never want to disappoint her, even if I know she's not going to be disappointed. So yeah.
Mama set a good standard.
She set a great standard, man. Her and my older sister, both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that gives me a lot more clarity about some things, because you saw a strong woman.
Yeah.
And so sometimes, you know, whenever you carry that over into you starting to date, you don't say it, but I can guarantee a lot of men see a strong woman.
Yeah.
Because that's what, you know, you modeled your life after. And that's not a slight or anything against you, but it really tells men just like, all right, I gotta come different. I gotta come a little different.
She don't need me.
Because exactly, you took the words right out of my mouth. Because she doesn't need me. And, you know, I think that's attributed to a lot of men thinking that yes, it's your job to provide for your family, but it's your job to lead. So just because you don't need my money, you need my leadership.
Yeah.
And a lot of men aren't thinking that. You know, they're not thinking about leading and guiding a family. Obviously, now we talking about godly Christian relationships. So that ain't your jam, then we ain't talking to you. But we're talking about a man being led by Christ, who is leading his wife and leading his family. And so you may bring in all the money, but as you alluding to your point earlier, you know, it's up to him to help lead in the stewarding of it.
Yeah.
So because he has the ability to send it in certain directions and getting your insight on how to stretch it. So it's like, you have the skills of budgeting. He has the ear of God. What would happen if y'all put that together?
Wild.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I gotta come a little different. I don't know if she needs me. Bruh, she's not what oh, there's my camera. I couldn't remember which camera was mine. She doesn't need you. She needs the God in you. It's the God in you that she needs. So let's not get hung up on the materialistic side of things or the transactional side.
That's good.
You know what I mean? It's the God in you, because the word tells us to follow. Paul said, follow me as I follow Christ. So children, follow daddy. Mama, follow husband as I follow God, as I follow Christ, as he leads me and as he guides me. Because if he's leading and guiding, we won't fail.
Yeah.
Things won't go left. But sis, you just strong. And I think that's probably why, you know, he ain't showed up yet because your match hasn't met you.
Yeah. That's a good point. Gosh. But then I get so impatient. And I'm like,
Don't we all?
I'm right. Like, I'm like, okay, like I'm strong and I understand that. I've even had like, now that I've been thinking about it and how your perspective is, it's like, I remember I was at just like a bar and it was for work. And the guy approaches me and he says, yeah, I'm not even gonna ask for your number because you the type to like go home and marry, and I'm not in that space yet. And I was like,
Appreciate that.
I appreciate that.
Why'd you feel like you had to say that to
But
me?
yeah, I was like,
okay.
don't
Why you
tell
have to tell me?
Yeah.
QT self.
I was like, man, because it's like encouraging and I'm happy, I'm strong, but I also am so excited to have a safe space in that way, you know? But God is teaching me patience in 2024. I know that for sure. For sure.
You know, in this season, what I've learned a lot about myself is there's a lot that comes with me, and I'm looking for a safe space to put it.
Yeah.
And and even as a married man, you know, I have my moments where I'm like, is my wife safe enough for me to put these things in her hands?
Yeah.
And I have to be mindful of, you know, where she is and what she has going on and where her mind is. And I believe that's what all of us are trying to do. We're doing our work. You know, we're going to therapy, we have community, and we have all of these positive, influential things that we do feed on. I know we talk about social media a lot. Yeah, it's trash, but it's also good too. We do use it for good stuff.
Yeah.
You know, anyways. So we're just trying to figure out, where do I put all of this stuff
Yeah.
that comes with me? The good and the bad, my ideas, my fears, what I'm happy about, what I'm excited about, what I absolutely positively cannot stand. I
Yeah.
want to know, where can I put my background in my childhood and it be safe and it be catered to, it be taken care of. Because we can be at peace knowing that all of me can fit here. And the world or the enemy wants us to feel rushed and trying to put that in places. So that's why, so what are we? That's really what's pushing that question. So what are we? What is this relationship? Where is it going?
Yeah.
I'm trying to date with the purpose. Now I'm really trying to figure out where to put all this stuff and feel safe and feel content. But we're all just trying to find that place. We're all trying to find that place. You got something?
That was beautifully said.
Yeah. I agree.
Why are you staring at me?
Did you find?
Thank you. That was
Period.
really beautiful. I like how you said, you know, that's where that question is coming from, because I'm looking for a safe place. And as a woman, I can relate to that. Granted, when we were dating, I was in a different place. I actually wasn't thinking about marriage or anything because I just got out of a relationship. It was, but I could see that mindset like later on, like a couple years later, me asking that question. I would definitely be asking, you know, like, because I want to know. And I am looking for a safe place. I'm looking for a husband. I'm looking for that security. Yeah, like you said.
Yeah.
And I just never thought of it that way.
You know, in a funny way, us men are looking for it too.
In your own timing, though.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, we're looking for security too. Can I put my future, or can I put my future in the hands of this woman? Because I'm looking ahead. And will my future be safe if I'm with you? Will I be able to do things? Will I still have not so much freedom, but will I be able to express certain freedoms and experience certain things? Because I don't want to look up 30 years later and it's like I had dreams, but they never got accomplished. I had dreams and they never were able to come to life. And that's the same for women. You know, women get trapped too, following behind a man who's not following God.
I think that's
So
one of our
true.
biggest fears as women. Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Because y'all don't want to be led wrong.
yeah.
Yeah. 100%. That's definitely a fear for me. And you spoke about like dreams and doing certain things too. It's like I am in a space now where I do want to like travel with, my husband and like experience those things in life. But then at the same time, God has told me like, well, why are you waiting on him? Like, yes, you're going to have that moment too. But don't you think you could trust me and like, in knowing that you can experience this and have just as much as joy, like by yourself? So that's one thing I noted.
I remember with Isaac, my brother Isaac. We had him and his wife Courtney on last season, I think. But
Oh yeah,
yeah, my brother Isaac, I love him to death. He had he had a moment with God, and God said to him, basically, will you be content with just me if you never got married? Am I good enough? And that was a hard pill to swallow. I mean, I'm glad I got mine, but I'm like, man, God, I don't know. Like, if I'm being honest, at a certain point in my life, I was like, I don't know if God would have been enough.
That's real.
I don't know if he would have been enough.
Spoon, Jazz. I literally just prayed last night. I said, God, was it last night? Let me not lie. Maybe 2 days ago. I was like, Lord, if it's not in your will for me to be married, remove the desire. I'd rather not be in anguish than have this. You know what I mean? Like, I just rather be able to just be single, not think about those things, and like live through your purpose and like with content. But I can't do that if I have this desire on my heart.
And I believe God's going to give it to you because of that heart posture. I do. I believe
it. That just made me shake. I literally did a little shimmy.
Because when Isaac had that moment and he decided that, God, you were enough, literally he met his wife the same year. And I believe they got married the next.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because he submitted that was what he needed to submit to God, his life, whether or not he was married. Because, I mean, he's a good man, decent man. And now he's a great husband. And he's a great father. And he's always had those abilities. And he always desired to be that.
Yeah, he wanted
talked
that.
about, I want to be a husband. I want to be a father. I want to be able to do these things. And he was like, God, you're more important than all of that. And the Lord rewarded him for his heart.
Yeah.
In submitting all of that to the will of God, to his relationship with God. But that's a hard pill to swallow. God, you're enough.
To not just say that, but to genuinely
live it.
You know what I mean? Yeah. That in your heart, that's very hard. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know. A couple years ago, I don't think he would have been enough. I would have needed more time. Like, there are seasons where I'm like, I couldn't have said that. So that is, whew.
Yep.
God's going to honor you, sis.
Amen.
Thank you, Lord.
Goodness gracious. My heart.
Bro, I'm about to start speaking in tongues and be all over knock these cameras down in a second. I'm really trying to be quiet.
I'm okay with that. Hey.
Oh my goodness.
I know he is.
And the reason why I feel that is because I think about it, even with, like the season that we're in, like with the challenges and the struggles, God, you can take the job away, you can take the career away, and you're still good enough.
You're still good.
At the beginning, you weren't.
No.
You weren't.
No, at the beginning of 23, I was like, what you doing?
Like, wait a minute.
This ain't, no. This ain't the will of God. I was rebuking everything. Yeah, you weren't enough in the beginning.
And so when we say that God is enough, we have to understand what enough is. That means whatever the need is, he meets it. In every way, every shape, every aspect, he meets it. Not only does he meet it financially, he meets it emotionally. He meets it sovereignly. He meets it wholly and it's complete. And it's not that God doesn't meet our needs, we're just not accepting of how he meets it
And his timing
of meeting it.
Yeah.
So we never really feel whole, or we never really feel complete because we're asking for more than what the need is.
Yeah. I heard 100%. on I think it was the basement. I don't remember if it was Tim or his guest was saying, God, I wanted God's will, but I didn't want it his way. And I was like, that's so true. I fall victim of that. It's like, yeah, God, I want you to do it, but I actually wanted you to do it like this and like this at this time, this way. And I actually envisioned it like this. So if you could do that, that would also be great. And God is nowhere near over there.
No, exactly. And he has had to tell me to just slow down and help me understand the process of even why we're here. Like not in like a dark way of like, I just don't want to be here anymore. It was just more like, once you experience a true encounter with God, it's almost as if like, okay, well, if I could have this 100% in heaven, I don't really want to be bothered staying here on earth the way earth is set up. But he had to tell me, no, there's beauty when heaven meets earth. That's the whole point.
Come on, Heather.
So that's when I was like, oh, okay. Like, and I still have to like remind myself of that because I get caught up in the like, I don't get why this is like, why are we here, bro?
Yeah, I don't care about all that.
Exactly. Like I could just be thinking about Jesus 24/7. That sounds way better.
Right.
Than talking about something, I need to get groceries today. I hadn't worked out in 5 days. Like, you know what I mean? I could go down the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all of that, well, as I hear, you hear that you talk about all these different pockets of times where you've really had to pivot. Your perspective had to shift. The way that you saw things had to, those things had to change from, high school, we just going to flow, we having a good time. College, I'm really having a good time.
Right.
And now adulthood, I'm like, hey, I want to have a good time, but just with one person.
Yeah.
Seeing how, you're with mom and the different things that she's gone through, and that's a strong woman. Shout out to mama.
Yeah.
You've just had to pivot so much. And so with all those different things, like what was the thing that you learned the most? Who that is? Oh, that's your daddy.
That's my daddy.
Why is my phone not on? Actually,
that's hilarious.
Oh, because he's one of my people. He's one of my favorites.
See, I literally just removed all my favorites. So I was like, y'all ain't about to get beat. Gosh, wait, what was the question? Like
with all those shifts and pivots, like what was one of the main things that you really learned or that stood out to you?
Gosh, I might actually have to think about this one.
Take your time. And maybe not just one thing, but some things.
Yeah. I think first thing with pivoting is accepting.
Right. That I got to make this turn.
I got to make this turn.
We're turning. Yeah. We're doing it.
We're turning. We're turning. Stop trying to go the other direction.
Right.
It's not working.
Yeah.
I think that's one. I think two, with the pivoting, for sure, is I need to ask my friends also what they have to pivot, because it's helpful to know, like, okay, well, you guys, y'all shared with me y'all's challenges of last year. It's like, and we just had to pray and we had to do this. It's just like helpful to get insight of what other people are doing. And I didn't realize how powerful that is, because I always come with this perspective of like, oh, I have to do it by myself. I have to figure this out by myself. And it's like, why? You're not alone. You have community. You know what I mean? So I would say those two are like the biggest things.
That's so good.
Pivoting.
I don't think we talk about number two enough.
Community.
Yeah.
It really is essential. And like, you and I were talking about this, like you really need some, like there's people in your life that are friends, but like, I'm not going to call you when I'm crying and like I need this need met and I need somebody to pray, because you're not there, and that's okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I need a couple that I can call that's going to cry with me and pray with me. You know what I mean? Like, and you have to have like those kind of realistic friendships. Because when we do hit hard times, like you're right, it is easy to kind of want to stay by ourselves. But there have been times where I've reached outside of my marriage. You know what I mean? Like no, I can go to my husband whenever, but I need my girlfriends. You know what I mean? Like I need women who know God. I need wise counsel. Like that's a part of life. And I can't tell you how much that has helped me. Like the prayers of my friends have kept me, have literally brought me back to life. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I can't imagine not having that. And so you talking about that is like something that we sleep on a lot and is more essential than we realize.
Facts.
That's so good.
I was being funny, but there was one time I was going through it that day. It was just like a challenge after the next. And I so happened to be with Allie and Gerald. And I was like, are y'all praying for me? Because come on, right. I don't feel covered right now.
Y'all prayers
You sound
ain't
like
working.
a pastor. Are y'all praying for me out there? No, but for real. And sometimes you got to remind your friend, you know, hey, you covering me? Oh, my bad, bro. I got you, though. I got you now.
Yes.
Because I done fell out before, too. That's so funny. But that's real.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so real.
Yeah, nah. And, you know, one of the dopest things about community friendships that I think a lot of people miss is when ruptures happen among the community.
What do you mean?
So like maybe disagreements or maybe one person does do something wrong or what have you, or they speak out about, you know, whatever it is. When there's a rupture but in the relationship, ruptures are opportunities for the relationship to repair. But we're very quick to, all right, well, deuces.
Cut them off.
I'm cutting them off.
Yes.
And, you know, I can understand, you know, because there are differences depending on the severity of the rupture or whatnot. But how do you know the strength of your relationship without a rupture? How do you know the strength of your relationship if you don't go through something with someone, work out the process with them, and y'all walk it through together, and y'all are able to bring things back together and continue on the relationship? Because a broken bone that heals right is actually stronger than it was before. It heals much stronger in a way so that it's harder for that bone to break in the same exact way.
I want to touch on something before I forget actually with that, because it's a good point. Because I would tell singles, have grace for your pregnant friends, for your friends that are going through marriage and have their firstborn, because something about that is just, it's such a shift, and you have to be precious with them.
Yeah.
Because it's so emotional. You know, I learned that with Allie because our dynamic was every single day, you know, we would talk like FaceTime. That's how we work, even when I was in Houston. And so when she first had Miles, it was like, okay, well, even when she first got pregnant, it was like, okay, well, I'm starting to feel like this, and like I'm not feeling myself. And then at one point, I feel like she'd be okay with me saying this. She was fairly like, it felt distant, but not distant of like just me. I knew it wasn't about me. It was just more like she had to have been going through something. And I called her one day and I was like, this is also, I was going through things too. So I guess I'd say vice versa. Like also, people who are pregnant, don't forget about your single friends because we love you, you know? And so I remember I was like, okay, I'm about to go back to Dallas. So I was like, you know what? Even though it's felt a little distant, I'm going to call her and just tell her like, hey friend, like I'm moving back. It's official, even though we've been talking. And she still, like when I first told her, we were on FaceTime, and she just kind of looked at me and was quiet. And so then once again, I was like, is she not excited?
Maybe she didn't hear it.
Yeah, like maybe she. And then she started crying. She was like, when? Because like I need you like now. I needed you yesterday. And it's just stuff like that. Like you don't know, and if the relationship's important to you, you really need to make sure.
Fight for it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's good in remembering to show grace. I was telling him about that. I have a friend that's in a season like just busy, like you know, with work, with life, with her family. Like she just has a lot going on, and she's been really distant. And there have been times where like I wanted to reach out and I had something I wanted to talk to her about, but based on our last conversation, I could tell like, you know, or when I hit her up, she was like not fully there, you know?
Yeah.
And instead of me being like, you know, she ain't there for me when I need her, or, you know, like, you know, I didn't have that mindset at all. I was just like, you know what? She's not in a place to hold what I need her to hold. There. And that's okay. Like I've definitely had seasons that I couldn't even think of at the moment, but I'm sure I can think of like, you know what? I'm sure I've dropped the ball, especially like you said, pregnancy or right after Kai was born. Yeah. Sorry to whoever I didn't reply to those 3 months or whatever. But I think extending grace is a preventative measure before we get to the rupture. And then when you have a posture of grace, it helps the rupture to not be so explosive and you're not in yourself and in your flesh, and it becomes, like this big brawl that can be resolved out of love.
Yes.
Yep. So we have to show grace one that, like, me and Heather, we had a rupture.
We did. Y'all did?
We had a rupture. Yeah. We had a rupture, and I was like, hey, bro, you did that wrong. All the way wrong. And so I had to go back and repair it. And that strengthened our relationship.
100%.
Because
from my side, it was like for you to like pull me aside and make sure like, hey, we need to have a conversation. That means so much more than even what happened.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know how we got there.
Right, because we were on Singleness. Flowing.
I got excited.
We
were talking about rupture. I was like, oh, that means
that's where we needed to go. We needed to talk about singleness, and we needed to talk about friendships and community.
There it is. Yep, that's how we got there. Community. So yeah, we have to get good community.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Man, this was good.
Did we get it?
I got it. Did you get it, sis?
Is there something else?
I feel great.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like maybe it is like a great time because it's like, okay, I could keep going, but I have nothing else right now.
No, you ain't got nothing. You ain't got nothing else to get to people. Nothing else.
Thank you for being here, sis.
Yes.
Thank you for traveling all the way from the boonies.
My little hike.
Yeah. But you travel regularly for like going to Allie and them too.
Yes, and I make a whole trip. That's why I'm like, oh yeah, I got plans today.
You do got plans today. Yeah. We gotta get you out of
here.
Yeah.
Get you out of here. So, man, Heather, thanks again. I love you so much.
I love you.
I love you so much. You know what's crazy? We've been knowing each other almost a decade now, over a decade. When'd you get the tech?
Has it been 2? Because I graduated.
It was less for me.
2012.
Because I met her.
You got the tech at 13.
I graduated
2012, 13. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy.
I was at tech in 2011. So yeah.
Well, we got to celebrate the decade somehow.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's been over a decade. I've been knowing you. We thank you so much for hanging out with us, sis.
Of course.
So yeah, her DMs are open via the Left Hand Gang.
Right.
So y'all need to holler at the Left Hand Gang, fellas. We will be vetting. I'm looking up everything because
he top detective.
I'm top flight.
He top.
No, this man actually has. I can say that.
I will find everything. So no, but we thank y'all so much for joining us today and all of that. Y'all just continue. We thank y'all for the support, y'all who've been rocking with us. Bro, this is episode 42. So we're over 40 episodes, and this is crazy to even think about. But we really hope that y'all been blessed by this time and blessed by us and blessed by Heather. Thank you for sharing your heart, your story, all of that.
Yeah.
And anything else, baby?
No, same thing.
Same thing. Ditto. All right, well, y'all be easy. We love y'all. See y'all next episode.
Bye.
Peace. Thank y'all so much for tapping in with the Left Hand Gang podcast.
Be sure to follow, like, subscribe, and rate us.
And lastly, please don't forget to check out our website. That's lefthandgang.co for merch and ways to stay connected.
Catch you next episode.
Gang.